Record on this computer. Hello, and today we are going to review the square root equations, radical equations. And let's start with the questions. This is for CBA 7. The first question says, consider the function f of x is x squared plus 3 with the domain x greater than or equal to 0. Remember, what was the reason here? Because normally the domain of this function, x all positive number, or all real numbers, right? X all real numbers here. But here it's given with the domain x greater than or equal to 0. It's because here we consider also its inverse. Inverse is square root of x minus 3. And you see here, square root, in square root, we should have positive numbers in the radical. Okay? So which of the following represents graph of f of x and inverse of x on the same coordinate plane? Here you see all the options. First of all, we know x squared plus 3. I show this with here on the right side. How is the graph of x squared plus 3? So this is the parent function x squared, right? Plus 3 means 1, 2, 3 units. We shift the graph 3 units up. This is x squared plus 3. But here what is given? The domain is x greater than or equal to 0, which means we don't take this part of the graph. So for us, which part is important? Just this part is important. And where do you see here? In which option we see this graph? Would you please type in chat? In which option we see this part of the graph of the function x squared plus 3? Exactly, here it is. It is A. And then, as you see, there is no other options. So it means this is the answer, but also let's check the inverse function square root of x minus 3. What is the domain here? Domain is square root of x minus 3. So how do you find the domain? Oops, you don't see it, sorry. How do you find the domain? The function inside the radical x minus 3 should be greater than or equal to 0. And domain here means x greater than or equal to 3. Domain of the inverse function. So we should have, our graph should start from number 3. Okay, there are two options here, number 3, number 3. And for the bigger values of x, we will have the points on the graph. So let's check if x is equal to, if we make this table, if x is equal to 3, y is equal to 0. 3 minus 3 is 0. If x is 4, we will have y is equal to 1. So here is the point, 4, 1, and 0, 3, 0. Okay. We also know we have only this part of the previous function, the original function, not the inverse function. And if we come back to this, the domain of the function, remember, domain of the function, so domain is given here, x greater than or equal to 0. Here, the domain of inverse function, x greater than or equal to 3. What we know about the domains and the range of functions and inverse of functions, domain of function is the range of the inverse function. Let's check it out here. What is the range of the inverse function? You see, we don't have any graph below the x-axis. So the minimum y value here, 0 or up. So the range here, y greater than or equal to 0. Now look at here. Range of the inverse is domain of the original function. By the way, we can also say the range of the function. So here, what is the range? Range. So range means y. The value is 3 here. Okay, because of cold, it's not writing. So value is 3. So 3 or up. You see, from starting from 3 and it goes up. It's increasing function. So y greater than or equal to 3. Let's check it out now. Okay, I can use this. Range of the original function, actually domain of the inverse function. We also be aware on this. Domains and the range, the relation between domain and range and domain of function and inverse function. So here the answer is A. Is it clear? Thank you. Next question. Next question, question number 2. Free response, please show all your work. You may get a partial credit, even if you cannot find the correct answer. This is important. You already know about this. So f of x is x squared minus 8 with the domain, and gx is root x plus 8 are given, are f and g inverse of each other, explain. So we should use the composite functions. Get closer. Okay. So what was it, guys? So composite function of f of g must be equal to composite function of g of f. We have to check this out. F of x is given. So this means f of g means, so I write it here, it must be g of f of x. And so we have f of, okay, gx. What is gx? It's given here. So I write it here, root x plus 8. F of root x plus 8. Okay, so let's say this is the left part. Equals, what is it? F of x plus 8, f of root x plus 8. F of x given as x squared minus 8. F of x given as x squared minus 8. So what we have in parentheses, take square of it and subtract 8. So what we have in parentheses, take square of it, take square of it. So we have square root of x plus 8. Now take square of it minus 8. You see? So this is the function. This is like variable here. F of something, it's something square minus 8. And what we see here, square and square root cancel out each other. We have x plus 8 minus 8, which is equal to x. Good. So let's see g of f of x. 2. It is now, let's write g of f of x. What is f of x? Here I have to write the f of x. F of x is given as x squared minus 8. X squared minus 8. Now, I have to find this value. So g of something. How is the function? G of x is root x plus 8. I plug this value here and then add 8 and then take square root of it. So we have what, guys? We have, oh, I don't write g now, square root of the function, g function of what? I have g function of x squared minus 8 and then plus 8. So here for me, what is important, I show it here. So x, but I have in parentheses I have f of x. So in parentheses I have this. So I have to have it in radical, then add with 8 and then plus 8. So it's equal to root x squared minus 8 plus 8. They cancel out each other. It's root of x squared. It is x. Cool. So f of gx and g of f of x both equal to x. So we say f and g are inverse of each other. Okay. F and g are inverse of each other. Okay. Number 3. Is it clear? Any question here? Cool. Number 3. Find the solutions of the equation and check your answer to eliminate any extraneous solutions. Okay, let's do that. So we have 2 radicals. What we are doing, we isolate the more complicated radical. So it's this one. So we isolate this one. Root 3x plus 1 equals 3 plus root x, not 8. Okay. And what we do here, to get rid of square root, we take square of both sides. So here square and square root cancel out each other. We have 3x plus 1 on the left hand side. And attention, here we never forget what we never forget. We never forget this one. So a plus b squared is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Still, if it doesn't make any sense, please check the binomial identities. Okay, guys. So here, there are 2 terms in the parentheses. First term is a, second term is b. In our question, first term is 3, the second term is square root of x. Okay, so square of 3, it's 9, plus 2 times 3 times square root of x, 2ab, and plus b squared. Plus b is root x, square of it is just x. Square and square root cancel out each other. So I combine the like terms. So 3x plus 1. If I subtract 9 and x on both sides, I will have this one. Okay, so I subtracted 9 and x on both sides. Negative 9, negative x, negative 9, negative x. Okay, so this is plus here, plus 3x. Then we have this one, 3x minus x is 2x, plus 1 minus 9 is minus 8, equals 6 root x. What is the next step? Next step is taking square root of both sides. But before that, you see all are even numbers. Let's divide by 2 and simplify. It will be much better because, you know, we are lazy and we like to work with small numbers. So I have x minus 4 equals 3 root x. In this step, I take square of both sides to get rid of this square root. Okay, guys. So again, I have square of binomial. I have to use this formula. But here, when I have minus, this is minus 2. There is minus 2. Okay. So x minus 4 squared is x squared minus 2ab, which is 8x plus 16 is equal to square of 3 root x. 3 square is 9, root x square is x. So far is okay? Okay. Then here we have a quadratic equation. Let's write it, guys, as quadratic equation. Yeah, it's much better like this. And if I combine all the terms on the left-hand side, since I have x squared on the left side, it means I subtract 9x from both sides. I will have x squared minus 17x minus 8 minus 9 and plus 16 is equal to 0. Okay, good. I can make factorization here. Right. Minus minus, since I need two numbers, product must give 16 and the sum must give negative 17. They are negative 16 and negative 1. Negative 16 times negative 1 is plus 16. Negative 16, negative 1 is minus 17. So we have x equals 16 from here and x equals 1. Check your answer, okay? So we found the x values, but we don't know which one is the correct solution. So we have to check. I don't have enough space here, but let me check here. 16, if x is 16, 3 times 16 is 48 plus 1, 49. There will be 7. Root 49 is 7 minus square root of 16, which is 4. 7 minus 4 is 3. Yeah, it's okay. 16 is okay. If check 1, 3 times 1 plus 1, that is 4, and root 4 is 2. And minus 1 is 3. No, it is not 3. So 1 is not the answer. There is only one solution, x equals 16. This is how we solve these kind of questions. Is it clear? Great. So I'm not going to solve number 4. It is for you guys. Just the same kind of question. I can give you the answers in the lesson next week. Here, again, we have find the solutions of the equation and check your answer to eliminate any extraneous solutions. So let's do this quickly. We leave the radical on one side alone. We isolate it, right? So we have root 5x plus 46 equals 8 plus x. I take square of both sides. And I have here 5x plus 46 on the left side. On the right side, 8 squared is 64 plus 2 times a times b is 16x and plus x squared. Okay, so I collect all the terms on the right side in this case, and I will solve the quadratic equation. I subtract negative 5x, negative 46 on one side. 0 equals 60, x squared here. 16x minus 5x is plus 11x. 64 minus 46, it is 18, right? Yeah, it is plus 18. So here, how do we factor this out? It should be equal to 0. So we have x squared plus plus. Okay, so we have plus here. Two numbers, the product is 18 and the sum is 11. Which two numbers here we have? Yes, 9 and 2. So we have x plus 9 and x plus 2. From here, x is negative 9, 0 product property, you know, this equals 0. From here comes x equals 9. The second factor equals 0. From here comes x equals negative 2. Then we have to check. X is negative 9. We have 5 times 9, 45. Negative 45 plus 46 is root 1 minus 9 is equal to 8. Is it true? 1 plus 9 is 8. No, it is not. So x is 9. X is 9 is not a solution. What if x is negative 2? 5 times -2 is 10 plus 46. -10 plus 40 is 36. So that will be 6 here. Minus x, which is -2. Is it 8? I don't know. Here I didn't know. So plus 2 is 8. This is correct. So we have the correct answer. Extraneous solution and the solution x is -2. Is it clear? Great. Okay, so I will skip number 6. Same kind of question. Number 7, it says find the inverse of f of x, x squared minus 4, restrict the domain of f. So the inverse is a function. Let's find the inverse first. What we were doing, this is y equals x squared minus 4. What we are doing, guys, we just change the places of variables x and y. So we have x is y squared minus 4, and we isolate y here. We have x plus 4 is y squared, where y squared is x plus 4, y is equal to, so we take square root of both sides, right, guys? And then y equals square root of x plus 4, which is inverse function. Okay, so let's write f of x, it's x squared minus 4, inverse function root x plus 4. What is the domain of square root? Because here domain normally all real numbers. So up to this, from the domain of the inverse function, we should start in this case. The domain of the inverse function is, how do you find? The expression in this radical function must be bigger or equal to 0. So x must be bigger or equal to -4. Domain of the inverse function is the range of the original function. Range is y here, x greater than or equal to -4. So y greater than or equal to -4. We are paying attention to restricting the domain. Okay, so here, what is the range here, guys? Okay, so this one. What is the range of this radical function? Range. If you consider the graph here, okay, how will be the graph? So it's the square root function x plus 4. So x greater than or equal to -4 here. So it will be something like that. Yes, the graph will be. And so domain -4 or greater than -4. Range, as you see, the minimum value is 0. So range will be y greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so range of the inverse function is the domain, must be domain of the function. So range y greater than or equal to 0, range of inverse must be domain of the function. So, but not y, since it's domain, I write in x. This part is the same, x bigger than or equal to 0. Okay, so domain of the original function, same with range of the inverse function, and domain of the inverse function, same with range of the original function. Is it clear? Okay. Find the solutions of the equation and check your answers to eliminate any extraneous solution. We have solved this kind of question. Find the solutions of the equation and check your answer to eliminate any extraneous solution. We have solved this kind of question. All right, number 10. If you guys still have a question on this question, what I skipped, you may ask your questions in the class on Tuesday. The distance in meters at which a car needs to stop is equal to 3 times the square root of the speed of the car in meters per second when the driver applies the brake. What is the speed of the car when the driver applies the brake if the car needs to stop in 12 meters? What is this about? Let's visualize this question. The distance in meters which car needs to stop is equal to 3 times the square root of the speed of the car. Okay, so let's say the speed of the car is s meters per second. So s meter per second. Okay, I can write like this. Okay, this is the speed s. And the distance, it says, distance is 3 times the square root of the speed. 3 times the square root of the speed. This is the distance in meters. Okay. What is the speed of the car when the driver applies the brake if the car needs to stop in 12 meters? So guys, what is this 12 here? Is it S or D? So this is our equation. What is 12 here? Would you please type in chat? Exactly. This is the distance. So it asks the speed. With my pen. So the distance is 12 meters. Sorry, I use capital letter, 12 meter. So I have 12 equals 3 root s. Now, after writing, it's very simple. I first, before taking square of both sides, I simplify. I divide both sides by 3. And I have 4 equals root s. Then I take square of both sides. And I have 16 is s. So what is the speed of the car? It is 16 meters per second. Clear? Good. What is the inverse of the given relation? Here, attention, look, it doesn't say function, okay? It says relation, because what is the difference? Remember this question, number 7, okay? This is the function, and inverse is a function. You restrict the domain of f so that inverse is a function. If there is no restriction, so here we take the domain as x bigger than or equal to 0, as all real numbers normally, right? Then actually we are talking about, it means we are talking about relation, okay? So if there's a restriction, it means usually we are talking about functions. What is the inverse of the given relation? Okay, so this is, we know what we do. We just write the original function, y equals 6x squared plus 7. So we are not going to find domain or range. We just flip the places of x and y. So x and y. So we have equals 6y squared plus 7. From here, we isolate the y as inverse of function. So we subtract 7 on both sides. We have x minus 7 equals 6y squared. Then we divide 6 both sides, and we have y squared equals x minus 7 over 6. And then, how do we get rid of square? We take square root of both sides, and we will have the inverse. So y equals square root of x minus 7 over 6. So y, this is the inverse relation. Okay, I don't say inverse function, but I write f of x inverse of the given relation. I think I should have done just this one. This is the inverse relation. I can write like this. Is it clear? No domain, no range, just work on it. How does the graph of y is square root of 1/3 of x compared to its parent function y is root x? Do you remember this? This is about compression on the graph. So let's see the graphs first. We already know how is the graph of square root of x, right, guys? I think I should have the table here for root x. So 0, 0, 1, 1, 4, 2. Do you agree? 0, 0, 1, 1. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And 4, 2 is here. This is the graph of square root of x. And of course, normally in a multiple choice question, we don't need to draw the graphs, okay? So now let's have the tape points for the function 1/3 of x, square root of 1/3 of x. And here, what we have again, for 0, we have 0. I use different color here. I have the point 0, 0. What if x equals 3? If x equals 3, 3x/3, y square root of 1, that will be 1. So for 3, I will have 1 here. Okay, here is my second point. And I cannot show it, I think. So I can use 12. If x is 12, yep. If x is 12, 12/3, 4, square root of 4 is 2. For 12, it will be 2. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So here it is. 2 is here. So it will be somewhere here. Okay, and this is, of course, it's not going down, but continues. This is the square root of graph of 1/3 x. So what you can say about this one? So here, now we have to check about if it is stretch or compress. So how we understand it? So this is the parent function. We have to compare with the parent function, right? So what are we doing? We are moving this, like we are holding this graph, okay? So what are we doing it? We compress it or we stretch it. Look, this is if I move it, so I move my finger horizontally, right? And graph goes down, yes? So it's basically stretched horizontally. So here we have the graph stretched horizontally by a factor of 1/3, we say. Okay, let me write it. I can write this one. The graph, do you see it? Yes. Graph stretched horizontally by a factor of 1/3. Times, okay. And yeah, that's it. So you have to also study some other examples from the book. I uploaded the related pages in Sqrt. You can find them, and this kind of questions, if you solve, and you can ask me if not understandable on Tuesday in the class. Number 13. This is here. If the domain of the function is x less or equal to -2, what must be the value of a? Good question. So we have a function. So what is important here? How do I find the domain of this function? How do I find the domain of this function? F of x is root a minus 3x plus 4. So plus 4 doesn't make any difference for the domain. So a minus 3x, since in square root, it must be what? A minus 3x must be greater than or equal to 0. This should be the domain. So let's solve this inequality for x. Can I write this? So a greater than or equal to 3x. In other words, 3 is less or equal to a, because always it's good to have the variable with positive side, right? So here I added plus 3x to both sides, and I have this one. And this is x, 3x, but I need x. So what I do, I divide both sides by 3, okay? When I divide both sides by 3, I will have x, so x, this canceled out, less or equal to a over 3. Okay, this is the domain. Domain x less or equal to a over 3. By the way, domain is given here, x less or equal to -2. What does it mean? What you can say here? What is the relation this and this? So x less or equal to a third, x less or equal to -2. So let me write here x less or equal to -2. It means this a over 3 and the -2 are equal to each other. Is it clear? So I take a over 3 equal to -2. Then I solve it for a. I multiply both sides by 3, or I make cross multiplication. From here, a is equal to -6. What must be the value of a? Here it is. A must be equal to -6. Okay. Any question? Good. Number 14. What is the domain and the range of the square root function? Oh, this is very easy, I think. So when we check the domain always about the x value, you know. So it's just +7. So we have square root of x. When we have square root, we know that the function, the expression inside the radical cannot be negative. It must be, so here it is x, it must be greater than or equal to 0. Well, this is it. This is the domain, x greater than or equal to 0. What about the range? How do you find the range? So maybe will be good to see the graph. Remember from this question, we have the parent function root x. So I'm not going to write all the points, so I just write it. So this is square root of x. And when we have +7, what does it mean? That +7 not in radical, not directly affect to x value, but look at here, what changed when we have +7? So f of x is root x, f of x is root x +7. So f of x value is changing +7 units, which means the y value is going up 7 units, which means this graph will be start from the point 7. And this give us the range. And range will be, you see the minimum value of the graph is 7. So the minimum value of the function is 7. It starts from 7 and increase. So y greater than or equal to 7 is the range of this square root function. Is it clear? Okay. Next question. The questions we have 80. Okay, 4 more questions. Thank you for your patience. Yep. Identify the x and y intercepts of the square root of the function. So when it asks x, y intercepts, we have to write as a point. It's important, guys, okay? What do I mean? So x-intercept, it's not just one. So we cannot say x-intercept is 2. We have to say, for example, 2, 0. Let's see it here. Identify x and y intercepts of the square root of the function. So what we know about x and y intercept, when we are talking about x-intercept, so that is something 0, because we find the y-intercept for the 0 value of y. Okay, so we have to write this one. So when y is 0, I will find the x value here. So 0 equals square root of x plus 7. And from here, I take the square of both sides. 0 is x plus 7. Understandable, I think. So from here, what is x, guys? X is negative 7. So x-intercept is negative 7, 0. Okay? I don't say just negative 7. I have to write as a point. And the y-intercept, so for y-intercept, x is 0. X 0 something. Okay? So I find the y-intercept now. Y equals square root of x. I know x must be equal to 0 plus 7. So y equals square root of 7. Y-intercept is square root of 7. Is it clear? Any question? We have to write the points when we have x-intercept and y-intercept. Number 16, find the maximum and minimum values of the function over the given interval. Maximum, minimum values of the function. Well, it's again related to the domain and the range. Oh, by the way, here, x values, x is bounded, right? From 7 to 11. What kind of function here we have? So up to that, we can understand if it's increasing function, so it will have its minimum value at 7. Minimum value function will have its minimum value at 7. If it is, if it's decreasing function, then this function will have its maximum value, it's at 7. So let's check it out. First of all, what is the domain here? Let me write the domain first. Okay, we start with the domain. So to find the domain, you know, we just consider this radical, and here we have x minus 7. That should be, we all know, always bigger or equal to 0. And x greater than or equal to 7. This is the domain. Okay, and how the interval given? From 7 to 11. All right. We can draw the graph, or we can just pick some values, guys, from 7 to 11 to understand the function is increasing or decreasing. Well, if, let's say, if x is 7, I think I will write the table here, make the table here, okay? So if x is 7, domain x greater than or equal to 7, so my first x value is 7. Is it clear? And if x is 7, what do I have, guys? F of x is 7 minus, so 7 minus 7 is 0, so square root of 0 is 0. So, well, it's just 7. Okay. 7 minus 0, it is 7. So when x is 7, y is 7. Good. Square root of, to get integer, I can pick the next value as 8, because 8 minus 7 will be 1. Okay. If x is 8, so function value is 7 minus square root of 8 minus 7, which is 1. So, and that is 1. 7 minus 1 is 6. Okay. 7 minus 1, it is 6. If x is, what can be the next value? To get 4, let's write 11. And it is actually the last value, right? And I think it's understandable. The function is decreasing here. Let's see it. So x is 11. The function value is 7 minus root 11 minus 7, which is 4. And that is 7 minus 2, root 4 is 2, 5. Okay. So what do you say? What is the minimum and maximum value of the function over the given interval? This is the maximum value. This will be the minimum value over the interval 7, 11. So you see, since we have a constant number here and minus, and here the value of radical is always positive where x greater than or equal to 7. And when x increase, when we take the bigger values, the value of square root gets bigger since we have subtracted from 7. Okay, the value of the function always decrease. So 7, 6, 5, after some values, it will be negative and decrease. So how do I write it, guys? F maximum, look, f of x, maximum value of the function is 7, and the minimum value of the function is 5 over the given interval. Is it clear? Okay. Number 17, a restaurant chain models its profit between the years 2004 and 2000. Oh, you don't see the question here. 2004, 2019 using the equation, where P is the profit in millions of dollars and X is the year. Using this model, in what year was the chain's profit $8 million? So what is $8 million here? It's P. But since P is the profit in millions of dollars, I will write here just 8. Okay, so P8 is 2 times x minus 2,000 of 3. We have solved some questions in the class. We can solve by calculator, but unfortunately, since big numbers, calculator didn't give the accurate values, you remember, if you remember. So it's better we solve algebraically, okay? We can solve algebraic, yeah, graphically didn't accurate, but algebraic solution was okay. So we can use our calculator, but we have to show our work here. How we do that? So we are just going to solve this quadratic, square root equation. First of all, I simplify 2 and 8. So I have 4 equals square root of x minus 2003. By the way, guys, what is the domain here? X should be greater or equal to 2003. Okay, logically, years 2004 and 2019. Okay, and then I take square of both sides. I take square of both sides, and I have 16 equals X minus 2003. This square and square root cancel out each other. I think it is easier than using calculator graphic option. And X is equal to, so we add 2003 to both sides. And we have X equals 2090. So this restaurant chain will profit $8 million in 2019. Clear? Okay. And the last question is, nice. The parent function y is root x translated 2 units left and 3 units up. What is the equation of the translated function? It doesn't ask the graph, but anyway, I want to show it. Okay. So I have the parent function root x. Here it is. It is translated 2 units left. So 1, 2, -2, 2 units left. This one is square root of x plus 2. Okay, remember, plus 2, we shifted 2 units left. And then 3 units up. So 1, 2, 3. 3 units up. So it will be somewhere here. Okay, this is 3. And so it will be like this. And how will be the graph here? How will be the function? So this root of x plus 2, 3 units up plus 3. So what is the equation of the translated function? The new function is square root of x plus 2 plus 3. And this is the final answer. Any question? I hope it helps you to get great grades. Thank you so much. See you on Tuesday in the class.